But yeah, guys, this is not politically correct stuff. I know. You're probably some of you guys are like shocked, like, "Oh my God, that's so misogynistic." Hey, it's realistic. Women love misogynists.
Oh, I ain't even gonna lie. I came up here on a whim for like $20. Just gonna keep it real. I ain't gonna lie. I respect your freedom of speech. I'll give you that, bro. You don't eat the box for the love of the game?
No,
Come on, man.
No.
For the love of the game.
No,
Hey, can I get an L for the love of the game? Hey, Myron, you gotta eat for the love of the game. Nah, but I respect you for coming up here. I ain't in no support or no hate. I'm neutral. I respect you for coming up in here, freedom of speech. Cause we live in America. We don't live in no third world country. You got freedom of speech, bro.
Yeah.
Some people may not agree with you. Some people may agree with you, and I think it's cool that you do that. What you think about the Epstein files?
Well, when it comes to eating box, no man, I haven't done it since 2013. I remember when I did it. It was terrible.
Back in 2013? Damn.
Yeah, bro. It's been a long time. It was like mid-May in 2013. But I was 23 at the time. I'm old now. But as far as the Epstein files go, bad, very bad. We knew the whole time that, what he was doing. He was basically, for those that are unaware, Jeffrey Epstein was a intelligence asset that was compromising powerful Americans and, other elite individuals to garner blackmail and, create some influence and steal technology first. And I think, though it is important to understand that he was involved in a, child trafficking ring, I think it's important to understand why he was involved in that trafficking ring and who he was working for. I don't think there's enough attention being brought to the fact that this guy was collecting intelligence for a foreign intelligence service.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It's kind of crazy that a lot of people already knew that shit, but they didn't want to release it till later. Also, can I get a happy Black History Month?
It was censored for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I was talking about this stuff before, for a while, and it was heavily censored.
Shit is crazy. Also, I had a respect buddy that just came up before me, because I ain't see a lot of black people. Maybe I wasn't paying attention though, but I got to hand it to him. It is Black History Month too, so it's something for that. Some people that's clapping for, it is what it is. You may not support it, but it's something. But hey, I respect what you did. That's all I got to say for real.
All right. You.
How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So I guess I wanted to talk about currently right now, with my stance of Trump, I felt like he has correctly pointed out that there are issues within America right now, but I just felt he's taken the wrong steps or has taken steps in the right direction, but has then overstepped to turn it into the wrong solution so far. Like an example,
Okay.
I'll bring an example. The first, I think, least controversial example of this was in Hawaii. He passed a bill to allow the natives to fish in their natural or historical fishing ground, because for a long time it was a fishing reserve, making no one allowed, including the natives, allowed to fish in that area. And in doing so, he then also opened it up to commercial fishing. And I think that's a first example of just kind of he did the right thing, but didn't have to add that extra bit.
Okay. I think you're never going to be fully satisfied with a president, right? There's why if I look at it if you agree with half the policies, that's kind of a W. Yeah, that's a very random topic, but yeah, I can see your perspective. You're saying look, you agree with him that he's identified problems, but maybe not the solution for these problems.
Correct. Yeah.
All right.
And then the next one, I felt where I don't disagree with the idea that NATO is set up in such a way where it puts the unnecessary burden onto America to also defend Europe. And then, however, his idea that we're owed Greenland, creating unnecessary internal conflict within NATO, I felt that could have been done better. Just different ways that could have been done for that.
Yeah. Trump exercises something called brinksmanship, which is, for those that are unaware, is very volatile, taking deals to the edge type diplomacy/foreign policy, and it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And yeah, I don't agree with Greenland either, and I also don't like the Venezuela situation. But it is what it is.
Okay, that's fair. And then I think that was one of the next ones was Venezuela. I felt it was just completely. I don't like Maduro. I don't think we should send him back. I definitely didn't agree with what happened in Portland where they were saying free Maduro, but I felt that was just an egregious overreach that has implications as what's stopping China from doing the same thing in Taiwan. And then also same thing with Russia's already doing Ukraine, but what's stopping him from doing it in the Baltics and Belarus and the Finland as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. Us invading Venezuela, we've lost all the, moral high ground that we used to, yell at the Russians and the Chinese to stay away from Taiwan. It's like, it. I'm not a fan of intervention. I'm really not. But I know why he did it. Venezuela is challenging the dollar system and aligning themselves with BRICS. But I do think that it's going to come back to bite us in the ass later.
And then kind of another point why I think I guess you already disagreed with, actually you already disagreed with the Greenland part, I'm not going to argue on that, but I think the last part was the biggest example, I think most controversial of where I felt he's just gone too far is ICE itself. I don't disagree with the idea that Biden's open border policy was a travesty, allowing millions of illegal immigrants into the United States. However, I think his steps with ICE, creating or at least putting more money into the department, I thought was kind of fine. I definitely didn't entirely agree with that, but I think ICE is taking it too far, especially with examples like Minnesota, arresting people without warrants, and then also on top of that, not having due process for the illegal immigrants or potential illegal immigrants.
Well, you got to understand that the immigration system is completely different from a traditional criminal justice system. If they got an order of deportation from an immigration judge, there is no due process. You're just going to get deported. You've already been ordered removed by a judge.
Without due process, how do you know they are to be deported? Or where is the verification that they are an illegal immigrant?
Where's the verification?
Like,
they don't have status.
I know, but is that not the point of due process, to verify if they are an illegal immigrant or not?
Immigration is far more black and white. What if you don't have status, you get removed.
But how do they know they don't have status is my concern.
Well, there's a multitude of different databases, immigration databases that will, identify if someone has status, whether they're here on a visa, non-immigrant, or they're, here on a green card, or they're a U.S. citizen. What's their alien registration number? They have an entire, immigration file, alien file, what's known as an A file. So that's how they know. So if you go through the immigration process and you're ordered deported by an immigration judge, that's it.
So, like what you're saying was, whenever they do arrest an illegal immigrant, they do double check whether they are an illegal immigrant.
Of course, there's databases that cover all that.
Then, like with instances like Abrego Garcia, I feel like we should take more steps to avoid situations like that, especially deporting them to, El Salvador specifically, or South Sudan is another example of where they're deporting them. They're not taking them directly back to their home country. They're just deporting it to either El Salvador or another example like South Sudan.
I mean, they can deport them wherever it is, but the point is that, they have the phrase like, hey, you don't got to leave what you got to get out of here, or you could stay or whatever. Actually, no, I butchered that. The point I'm trying to make here is if they're illegal, bro, they're going to get deported. And they don't have status. It's that simple.
And and to you, it doesn't matter how they get deported or where they get deported. The
Not really. Don't break the law.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. What's up next?
Myron Gaines, you have been going to college campuses and you've been invoking your First Amendment right. I think we can all agree here that the First Amendment is a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I think it's an even better thing when people actually use it to say things that they believe. And from the things that I've seen you say, it seems to be the case that either A, you're mentally disabled, or B, you don't actually believe any of the things that you say. So, let's talk about these things. ICE did nothing wrong. Alex Preddy is the most hot topic. Let's discuss it. I think any person with reasonable intuitions would see what happened to Alex and say that was a state-sanctioned execution. Talked about it.
So your position is that it was a state-sanctioned execution?
Yeah, more or less. Putting it generally, but yeah, sure.
How you interpret it is up to you, but it's legally justified.
How is it legally justified?
Don't commit a felony and then be armed while doing so.
So committing a felony, because you're talking about him brushing his hip, but you know what? He did touch him. I will grant that.
Then that's it. That ends right there. That's the crime.
Absolutely not.
It ends right there. You do not. You cannot. Hold on.
Go for it.
You cannot touch a federal agent while they're in the middle of an enforcement operation. That is a crime under 18 U.S.C. 111, assault and impeding. Can't do that. And to do that and then resist being detained or arrested after the fact while armed is not intelligent.
So what is the use of force continuum then? Because you know that. You work with DHS. What's the use of force continuum?
Well, he touched him. So while he was in the middle of dealing with another individual, He pepper sprayed the guy.
He did.
Tried to grab his hand, get him to the floor. He resisted. And then obviously it escalated from there.
And now, at what point, because with the use of force continuum, if you're going to shoot someone in the back, approximately, was it 6 or 10 times, whatever it was, when you do that, doesn't there have to be a reasonable sense of danger? And when a person's on both of his arms and legs with, 5 or 6 ICE agent or USBP agents on him, in what world is that justified?
It's justified under Tennessee versus Garner, Graham versus Connor.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the Supreme Court justifications for that, because what you're doing right now is what a lot of progressives do when they analyze this stuff, which is you're using the benefit of 2020 hindsight. And 2020 hindsight does not apply in use of force situations for this very reason, because what the officer knows at the time that they use the force is not going to be the same as you sitting here on a debate stage with your 2020 hindsight. So we don't go off of that.
And there's one thing that I've heard you say multiple times, Myron, and that problem that you've got is you're leaving out the third most critical court case that I don't think you've even said to any of the people in this audience. What is that court case? I imagine you know.
Go ahead, say it. What is it?
It happened literally last year, and it was a 9-0 ruling by the Supreme Court. You don't know this.
What court case is it?
You really don't know. Holy
what is
you
it?
don't know about Barnes v. Felix.
So here's the thing. I find it interesting that you're bringing up a court case, quite frankly, when I'm mentioning what law enforcement uses all the time when it comes to what they're taught, use of force, etc.
Yeah.
Like this court case that you're talking about, there's a reason why the people that shot Alex Preddy and Renee Good are not indicted and or being charged, because, again, it's objective reasonableness based from the officer's perspective. Okay?
No, this is because, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
That's
this
what it
because
is.
that this administration is unbelievably corrupt.
Oh, now it's a corrupt administration.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
great.
Absolutely. But let's focus on Barnes v. Felix, because you know about Barnes v. Felix, right? You knew about it.
No, go ahead. Tell me about it.
How are you speaking on the use of force and you don't know about Barnes v. Felix? It happened literally last year. Barnes v. Felix was a ruling 9-0 by the Supreme Court that you have to look at the entire situation.
Yep.
You have to use the entire situation to understand
Totality
the
of circumstances, yep.
Exactly. The totality of the circumstances. So you do know about this because that was established under that. You do know about this. And I don't understand why you know about it and you're not telling the people in this crowd that. It's what a grifter would do. You see, you have no response.
No, you're just like, again, the totality of the circumstances works out more in my favor. I don't know why you're bringing this up.
The totality of the circumstances is something in Felix v. Barnes, and you said that you didn't know about it when you're using the language in Felix v. Barnes. You just lied.
Okay, you're just obfuscating now at this point.
No, I'm
it's
pointing
very
out you're a
simple,
liar.
bro. Like, see, like you're trying to like deflect and bring up like, look at this case law here.
Yeah,
we're gonna keep this very nice and simple.
Yes.
We're gonna keep this very simple. They were there doing an immigration enforcement operation. I know you progressives don't like when they go ahead and enforce immigration because it hasn't been done in a very long time, but they were there lawfully conducting an immigration enforcement operation. The Border Patrol agent was in some type of situation with this female subject. He pushes her to the floor. Alex Preddy closes the distance, comes up to him, and assaults him. That's it. You can't do that. That's a crime. That's a felony. They pepper spray him, get him down to the floor. He's resisting. And it's interesting as well that he had been doing that for a while.
Look,
okay,
go ahead and well, you can say like, oh, because he touched his
you're
hip, he
using
was
you're using 20.
But the
You're
problem
using
no, there was never a moment of deadly threat. There never was with Alex.
There's not a moment of deadly threat. The guy was armed.
He did ever reach for it?
Well, here's the thing: the agent that shot him from his left.
There were two.
Yes. The agents that shot him, or the agent, whatever you want to say.
There were two. That's a big difference.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And
The
none
use
of
of
them
force
are
is
being
still justified. The
investigated.
use of force is still justified. Again, they shot him from the left. Alex Preddy is right-handed. He was moving his hand like this, okay?
Wait. When he was shot?
Huh?
When he was shot, the first or the second times after he was getting up? What time are you talking about?
Well, he was moving his hands like this. That's what the officers
first or
observed.
the second set? Because he was shot two separate sets. The first by the first officer.
When law enforcement shoots, they shoot to stop the threat. Okay?
Yes.
So, again, you're using 20/20 hindsight once again as usual. But like I said before, when they're there, they know he's armed. They heard gun, gun, gun. Obviously, this is a rapidly evolving event, okay? And he's moving his hands like this. As he was doing that, they did not know that he had been disarmed. They heard
Here's
a
the
gun
problem.
go off.
You're obfuscating, and you're doing it intentionally. And this is why I'm saying you're a grifter.
This is the fact pattern.
No. You're saying
This is the
bullshit.
fact pattern.
Myron, you're saying bullshit. How much do you want to bet? $1,000. Myron, will you take this bet? When he first gets shot, at no point did he reach for his weapon. Bet $1,000 right now.
The officers
He won't do
saw
it.
him moving
he
his
won't
hand.
Do it.
Dude, you don't even you're over here just like, look, bet me $1,000 that this specific thing happened.
Yes,
that's
the
not
thing
what we're
that
talking.
matters whether he should get shot. Yeah, of course you. What the fuck?
Okay, once again,
I'm sorry. I thought we were about free speech over here.
you know it's interesting because he missed the dude.
Well, I'm sorry. So I'm
The
just
reason
gonna
why
say retarded shit. I'm gonna call it out.
the reason why you lose this debate is because it's very simple. You cannot touch a federal agent during the course of their duties. He committed a felony. He got pepper sprayed. He resisted. The officers at the time, the Border Patrol agents, had reason to believe. Well, they heard gun, gun, gun.
In an open carry state.
Okay, that's irrelevant again.
Absolutely.
That has
not.
nothing
Did he
to
reach
do with
for
the
it?
fact pattern. Once again,
Did he reach for it?
it doesn't matter
It
if
totally
he reached for it
matters.
or not. What matters is it looked like he was from where they were seeing. Remember, they shot him from the left. They saw his right hand going like this, and they shot. When he
was first
Hold on,
shot,
dude,
wait.
Yo,
that's why
this
you
is-
won't
yo,
take
yo,
the
yo,
fucking
yo,
bet.
bro.
You know you're full of
Bro,
shit.
thank God that we have no lack of.
He won't
Thank
take
God
the
that there's
bet.
no
Yo, I don't know
20/20
what to say. He's
hindsight.
fucking grifting. He won't take
Because
the
you're
fucking
sitting
bet.
here. It's not about grifting. It's about you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Wait, yes or no?
You're sitting here.
Myron, it
your
is so
opinion.
easy.
Your
It is so
opinion
easy.
is
Go ahead and
irrelevant,
talk,
and I'm
bro.
going to tell you
Go
why.
ahead and talk.
You're sitting here Monday morning quarterbacking a use of force situation that you weren't involved in giving your opinion. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter what you think. What matters is what occurred in the Border Patrol agent's mind at the time he pulled the trigger. That's
Agreed.
what matters. That's what they're going to judge him on. And
Yes.
that's why they're
Yes.
not being charged.
You're,
okay?
you are absolutely right until the very end. Now, I will ask again, Myron Gaines, yes or no, when he was first shot, where were his hands?
I don't know.
What the f*** you mean?
But
You're saying
did
I
they-
said
he
nothing
was going
wrong,
like this.
and
That's
you
what
don't
they said,
even-
and I saw the videos.
You,
like
Myron, you as
you're
an
asking me to point.
ex-DHS,
You're asking me to
Myron,
pinpoint
as an ex,
the
yeah, let me talk.
millisecond
You just talk a
when he
lot.
was shot where his hands were. Like
Yeah, that matters. How are you? If you work in law enforcement, you understand that the means of death are always by the hands.
Yeah.
I can't exactly. You know this. So then you know you're not being a
person, the only person that's going to be able to
you
say
gotta
that
let me talk,
is going to
Myron.
be the Border
You
Patrol
gotta
agent.
let me talk because you know
it's
I'm
going to be the
fucking
Border
cooking
Patrol agent. You're not murdering
you gotta
anything. You
let
look like a
me-
moron.
You gotta let me talk. You're being a.
You don't even have to get this far. He committed a crime. It's done. Do not
Bullshit.
touch and assault Border Patrol agents.
If you're not
and/or
gonna let
federal
me
agents.
talk, we're not gonna keep doing this. I'm grilling you, dude. You won't take.
You're not
the
grilling
bait.
anything.
You
You're
know,
wrong.
You
You're
don't
just
even
wrong.
know where his hands were at the
You're
time when he
wrong.
got shot.
You're wrong.
How? Why won't you take the bet?
It doesn't matter
Because you don't know.
It doesn't
You're a
matter.
fucking dude.
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
telling you.
The Border Patrol agent saw his hand going like this. What does that motion? He's
Did
going
that
like this
happen?
after they heard gun.
Did that happen in the video?
Yes, you can see it in the video. Yes.
No. What? The very first time he was shot.
There were multiple angles. But what are you trying to... Go ahead, man. Just say what you want to say. Go ahead.
The point I'm establishing is that at no point in this confrontation, when he was initially shot, did he reach for his weapon. And you knew about Felix v. Barnes, and then you lied about it because it completely undermines your bullshit. That's the problem, because you knew about the totality of the circumstances. Because you know it.
Because it existed before that case.
the totality. No. Felix
It's
v.
always
Barnes.
been a legal term. Totality of circumstances has always been around.
Felix v. Barnes is the one that solidified that. It said it was a Supreme Court ruling, brother. And also, that's absolutely not true because other courts had this. It was like a doctrine of like. It was like narrow. It was a very moment of threat. So if you know in Felix v. Barnes, the officer jumped in the car and the car was moving, and then the cop shot him. He was in a reasonable threat, but the officer put himself in that situation like a. So then you understand that.
Once again, Alex versus Preddy, that's what we're talking about. I told you already what it was. Don't assault federal agents when they're doing enforcement operations. It's very simple. And don't be armed when you do it. And at the time, the officers had reason to believe that he was a danger or he was a threat. They shot. They stopped the threat. It is what it is.
So we'll wrap up on this. This horse has been beaten enough. If it is the case that objectively in the video, because you understand the concept of objective reasonableness, you understand that in the video, if at no point he ever reached for his weapon, even despite the officer shouting gun, gun, gun in an open carry state, but he's never reaching for it, would that be unjustified?
What matters is what did the Border Patrol agents that fired their guns think at the time they fired their guns? It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. What they're going to be judged on is what were the facts that they knew at the time. And us having a discussion about that is really irrelevant to the facts of that case because he's going to be judged on what was known to him at the time. And that's what I'm saying, why he's going to be legally justified. Because a lot of law enforcement with that similar training would come to that conclusion of this is reasonable level of force based on the facts and circumstances. Don't commit a felony while armed, dude. It's that simple. You guys want to go ahead and try to justify it because you guys hate ICE so much or law enforcement, that's fine. But don't assault federal agents when they're doing their jobs.
Sure. To the next point, everything that's been happening under... I'm sorry I grilled your guy, bro. Sorry, I grilled your guy. Myron, I'll let you call it. I'll let you call it, bro.
Yeah, we'll go to the next person.
All right. Hey, thank you for having me here. I appreciate everyone, and the First Amendment truly is a beautiful thing. If you want to hear things from a more liberal perspective, we've got a tent set up over there. But everyone, thank you so much for your time. Myron, I think you do know better, though, truly. In my heart of hearts, I think you know better.
Thank you.
Hi. I'll preface this by saying, first off, this is like my first time doing this. So I respect the hell out of what you do. I think that coming out here and speaking to hundreds of people, really impressive. So first off, respect the hell out of what you do. Second off, I think we can't talk about Alex Preddy or Renee Good purely because everyone saw different things. You're not going to change people's opinion on what they saw. So I want to talk instead about what ICE has done before that, outside of the shootings in Minneapolis. Do you think that detaining and arresting U.S. citizens without confirming that they are U.S. citizens before their arrest is wrong?
Well, under the Department of Homeland Security Act, they have the authority to identify who you are. And if someone's not carrying ID or whatever, and they can't verify it, they're going to go ahead and figure out what they are, what their status is.
So everyone should be walking around with proof of citizenship, with a passport or something like that.
Well, if law enforcement, especially immigration enforcement agents, they have the ability to conduct what's called immigration inspection, and they can verify if you're a U.S. citizen or not. So, and it's, you know, they have the bunch of different, you know, fingerprint things that they can use to verify that or whatever. But yeah.
But that's post-arrest, post like them actually taking that person off the street. Do you think that apprehending U.S. citizens without confirming that they're U.S. citizens or confirming that they're even here legally is wrong?
So typically what happens is they do an enforcement operation. They encounter a bunch of illegal aliens. There might be a U.S. citizen within that group of people. So since everyone else is illegal, they'll have, you know, reasonable suspicion to believe, hey, look, this guy might be illegal too. That's why they're doing a background check to figure out what it is. Also, it's important to realize that a lot of the times they're either harboring these illegal aliens, they're transporting them somewhere. These are felony crimes. So that's another reason why they're being detained. So every situation is different.
So you said sometimes that these people, or a lot of times that these people are harboring illegal criminals. I don't disagree. I think that there are times where U.S. citizens do spend a lot of time with illegal
aliens. Yeah, if you go into a house and there's 10 illegal aliens and like 1 or 2 of them are U.S. citizens, well, you're going to have reason to believe that they might be illegal too, and you're going to want to verify their identity, right? So
exactly.
That's why that happens a lot of times where U.S. citizens are being detained. It's not like people are just walking up to them like, oh, I'm going to detain you. It's like, no, there was a fact pattern typically that led to them being detained because maybe they're in the presence of illegal aliens, maybe they're harboring them, maybe they're driving them around. So they got to verify that they're also U.S. citizens with the other individuals.
Okay, completely agree with that. But are you arguing that no U.S. citizen has ever been picked up off the street during the past 14 months that ICE has been operating under President Trump?
Say that again. Has there ever been a what?
Has there ever been a U.S. citizen that has been picked up off the street, unlike what you just said earlier, that hasn't been like, that there isn't really suspicion outside of things like race?
I'm sure it probably did happen.
No, is that wrong?
Yeah.
Where they just pick someone up with just based on purely physical factors like race, ethnicity?
I don't have a problem with it.
You don't have a problem with them like picking up people off the street just because of the way they look?
If they maybe they don't speak English, maybe they look like that, or maybe they might have seen them come out of a house that they were. What you got to understand is like what you see versus what law enforcement knows are 2 different things. So from the surface level, you might be like, they're just picking up these guys up at Lowe's because they're being racist towards Mexicans. But what you don't know is they might have set up surveillance. They might have an informant that told them, hey, these guys are here every Saturday at this time and they're illegal. So what looks like targeted enforcement operation to be racist might actually have been a long-term situation where they had an informant giving them information. We don't know.
Thank you.
No worries.
What's up, Myron? How's it going?
Yo.
I got 3 questions for you. First one, if you were on Epstein Island with the boys, would you party with them?
I wouldn't be on the island.
All right. Second question, how do I get laid by a fat chick?
Just give her some McDonald's.
Somewhat?
McDonald's.
All right. And then third question, if I was butt right now, what would you do to me?
I would run away.
All right, thank you.
No worries.
Good. Yep. Check. 1, 2. Diddy blood.
Yo.
What's up, Myron? First off, man, really appreciate what you do. You know, it takes a lot of strength. They shot the last guy that came out to do this, and it's not cool. You know, we may have our own separate political opinions, but seriously, appreciate what you do, man.
Thank you.
Promoting that stuff. Great stuff. 2 simple questions. First off, dude, I'm using my daily flip cash, and I got a blackjack hand. I got 10, and he's got 10. Am I hitting or am I standing?
I don't know, man. I don't gamble, so.
All right. I'll pull the community. We'll hit. Ooh, 14. We're hitting again? Hit again? 24. It's all right. That's okay.
And that's precisely why I don't gamble.
Okay. Yeah, blame it on the juice. We're good. Myron, man. I am a film major at this lovely institution here, man. So I got to ask you my main question. What's your favorite movie, man?
Borat, Pulp Fiction.
Dude, Pulp Fiction is my favorite, man. That's awesome.
Reservoir Dogs is good,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Dude, great answer.
Been a while since
I
I've
appreciate that. Good deal. Not Schindler's List?
What was that?
Not Schindler's List. Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Never saw those.
Yeah, they're pointless. They're fake stories. It's cool. All right, Myron. Appreciate everything, man. I'll get them on Flip tomorrow. Take care, man. Make sure you talk real close to the mic.
What's up, man?
Yo.
How's it going?
Good.
All right, so I got more like a serious question for you. It's a little like 2-part kind of question. So, what's your thoughts about Bonnie Blue?
Who?
Bonnie Blue. She like sleeps with a lot of guys.
Oh, I mean, she's a whore. I don't know what to say. Like,
Would you?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, and then last part of
It
that
has to be a slow
question.
Tuesday.
Would you rather have Jeffree Star as a son or Bonnie Blue as a daughter?
Yeah, probably.
You know, you gotta choose one. You gotta choose one.
Jeffree Star. Is that the? He's gay? Very gay.
It's like
Any gay
daughter,
or
basically.
like what kind of? Gay? Oh, he's gay. But he doesn't like trans. I'll take Jeffree Star.
Good choice.
All right.
I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Paulina. So I have a question. So earlier I heard you say that you don't believe that women should have the right to vote. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so I want to go to medical school. I'm pre-med. I'm a freshman. And I'm just curious about what your opinion is on a lot of women that want to go to medical school or higher professions, law school, and what you think about that.
Sure, have your profession, but you shouldn't vote. See, that's exactly why right there. Some girl screaming on the side.
Could you just elaborate a little bit more about why you think, so you think it's like, would you have a woman as your doctor?
Well, these are 2 different discussions. We're on the vote thing, right?
Okay, why don't you just explain why you don't think women should have the right to vote then?
Okay. What is a selective service?
I'm not sure.
That's why you shouldn't be able to vote.
Okay, I'm willing to bet that a lot of men here don't know what that is either.
Oh no, they all know because they wouldn't be here without it. They all know. They wouldn't be able to go to school here without it. And that's the difference, and that is precisely why women shouldn't have the right to vote, because I don't think it's fair that men have a bunch of responsibility and women get the same level of authority without the same level of responsibility.
Okay. So you think it's okay for women to go to higher professions like law school, medical school, but they can't vote. So a woman could be a doctor, but she can't vote. Is that what you would agree with that?
Yeah, and also, here's the thing, right? I am realistic. I understand that we live in a world where dual income is kind of needed. Things are more expensive, etc. But what I will say is, I don't think women should be prioritizing career over a family. I think they should be prioritizing a family first. But the problem is that we have the society where we tell women to prioritize career, and I think that creates a lot of issues.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
No worries.